enough about the religion and politics. Let's get physical and talk about the actual material that 40k is made from. DuPont's got nothing on the Imperium.
Oh, that was an excellent Stoney impression there, Matt.
Yeah.
It was like he was in the room. And you even got in his hatred of DuPont. He's always going on about that.
Yeah,
outrageous.
A flash of inspiration.
Well, if you didn't get it from that overly exaggerated introduction, guys, today on the episode, we're talking about materials. That's right. We're going to look into the materials that make up the world of 40k. We're talking everything that ends in might, loads of geology, maybe even some tricksy Xenos stuff.
But we like to get started with a little thing we called hobby progress. Welshy, what's your hobby progress?
Well, I've been doing quite a lot of just kind of reading and listening to 40k actually at the moment. I've just finished The End and the Death, listening to it. Part two of 3. I don't want to do a full spoilers thing, but there's some bits that we could mention, I think. Obviously, there is a fight scene at the end between Horus and Sanguinius. It's what everyone's expecting. It is bloody brilliant. It is one of the best descriptive pieces of writing I've ever listened to, and it's told from both Sanguinius's viewpoint and Horus's viewpoint.
That sounds good. So this is on the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah. What else is kind of obvious from the book is that time and space have all collided into one, so everything is everywhere simultaneously. There's a lot of people walking through random doors and random corridors and ending up in completely different places.
Okay.
Because essentially the Vengeful Spirit has weaved itself into the Imperial Palace, which is kind of cool. People are phasing backwards and forwards. But the fight scene, it's kind of told from Sanguinius's point of view, where he's doing really well. And at the same time told from Horus's point of view, where he's like, explains that he's just toying with him.
Right.
And then when it gets to the final crunch of the matter, it's Horus goes into this real kind of psychopathic description of how much he's enjoying essentially battering him. And it's really good and really well written. So it's worth slogging through some of the... I saw one comment online that said something like, there's 35 minutes of content in this book and 14 hours of people walking through corridors being confused by the changing pace of time. There's loads of other stuff in it. The bit with Dawn is still stuck in some mystical realm. There's a bit where it's describing the fight scene that Constantine Valdor's having, but because he's doing it at different pace, it's like 42 seconds, but it sounds like he's been fighting for years. Kind of like... Inception style, I suppose.
That's
kind of bits that are going on. We get a conclusion to the Dark King, which I won't do spoilers on now because it's a massive book. I'm not sure everyone's done reading. Maybe next episode we can chat about what happens with the Dark King story arc. But there are so many beautiful moments within it. I think it's worth listening to the whole thing. But it is plodding, and it's probably not necessary to have a whole book. And painting-wise, I've actually been painting one of the models you can get on our Cults 3D page, which is a model Stoney designed that's like a kind of punk city dweller that I've decided to paint in an Escher scheme, although she's definitely not an Escher. She's a punk city dweller. But I've been enjoying doing that. So if you want a really cool proxy model for some hive cities, then check out the Cults 3D. So what have you been up to, Matt?
I not that much. I've nearly finished my Black Templar diorama, which consists of a pile of orcs. Yeah. So
what blood colour did you go for? That's what the listeners have been waiting to hear.
I went with the dark purple. I just used the sheesh purple, the contrast paint.
Sheesh. It's a sheesh kebab.
It's not sheesh. The sheesh kebab. I think it's shayish. The sheesh kebab. It's looking good. I'm pretty happy with it. That's going to be done very, very soon. And then I'm finally going to start properly painting some of the new Guardsman models that I got in the Cadian Stands box that's been out now for a long time. So going to build those heavy weapons. I've painted 3 guys, but from the command squad.
So
but I'm going to get into it.
a new Sentinel in that box.
Yeah, and there's 20 infantry, 2 heavy weapons, Sentinel, the rest of the command squad.
Nice.
Gonna get some of them cracked out. But this morning I had an accident. It's a long story about why it happened, but my basilisk flew off my shelf.
Oh no.
And I sort of managed to not catch it. I sort of half caught it and broke its fall, but
Yeah.
it's still.
You didn't snap the barrel that stupidly long
No,
time.
no,
Okay,
no,
that's
no.
all right.
I managed to get it to land on my desk and not on the floor. Yeah, but it's going to need a repair job. So it'll be fine. Cadia will stand. It'll fire again. Yeah, straight barrel. So it's all good.
What about you, Stoney? What have you been up to, mate?
ZBrush.
Finance, cutting-edge technology. Accurate information, it's the Large Blast podcast news. Hear every episode.
So, Matt, the time has come. You have been predicting clear plastic models for so long, and we were tantalized with a little Frodo ages ago.
Yes.
But they've released a whole set of kind of semi-colored, semi-clear dead men from Lord of the Rings models, and I think they look fucking great.
Yeah, they do. Loads of semis here. I don't know what else to say about them other than they're great. It'd be nice to see some more pictures of them.
They had another picture where they were kind of backlit with a kind of eerie blue-green glow, and it looked amazing. I mean, I think when I was a kid, when you saw that scene in the cinema in Return of the King,
Yeah,
where he walks in and you have the little, it starts with the little kind of joke about the Gimli not going in, and when they come out and they phase forwards from the cliff face, and then he puts the sword up and actually like blocks the blow. It's like, I remember that, and it still is one of my favorite scenes from the whole trilogy. So to see these realized so well, I will absolutely buy these. But I put them in the news because you've had a theory that for some time that we're going to have some kind of Imperial demon army using semi-clear plastic or something.
Yeah, and or some sort of warp game, which could be a little bit more far-fetched. But you could have, you'll have to listen back to previous predictions. Really bad news. Space Marine 2, the game that's coming out on Xbox and PlayStation, is delayed until the second half of 2024. Can you believe it?
It's absolutely mad. I've been so excited about this. I literally almost bought a PlayStation 5 in the Cyber Monday deals just gone. There was a really good deal on a PS5 because I was so hyped for this coming out. So I guess my wallet has just breathed a sigh of relief as I don't have to shell out 400 quid to play a game.
Oh, this is completely passed me by. This is genuinely my reaction to this news. Yeah, I mean, I've gone with an Xbox. I'm getting it for Christmas. That makes me worry because if they've already delayed it, will it definitely be ready? I don't know.
What they did say in this article I was reading about it, obviously they're doing it because they want it to be as good as it can be, which is good. You don't like games that are released half-heartedly. No good. Something that they mentioned, which I didn't know, because we've only seen Tyranids in trailers, is that there will be Thousand Suns in this game as well, which I think is a really cool faction to see.
That is really cool. Yeah,
on the computer screen or console screen. And so there will be some very kind of magic-esque sorcery levels, which I think
amazing.
Would be great.
That'd be great on a game.
Chaos Gate and that kind of stuff. To see that rendered properly in next-gen consoles would be fab. But it's not the only rendering we've seen of Titus, because Weta Studios have released the first model. I think they said they're going to make about 1,500 of them. It's 61 centimeters tall and is a really, really cool statue of Titus stomping.
I didn't know it was that big.
Hormigón. Yeah.
That's like Titan size.
It's a 1:6 scale.
A 1:6 scale Space Marine. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah. It is an amazing model, though. It's really cool.
It looks so detailed to see like every chink and little bit of dust painted on it.
I didn't know that you could get a helmetless version.
Yeah, you can switch out the chainsword for
No,
Thunderhammer.
brilliant,
You can switch
brilliant.
out the head for Titus's proper grimacy face. And just the detail, even on like the Hormigaunt that's being stomped at the bottom. One of the views they showed on the website was down from the top, and he's properly got his like foot between the two jaws, and you can see that he's just like snapped off the bottom jaw. See,
Excellent.
this stuff I almost get more than the McFarlane or the Joy Toys. Like, I don't know what people are doing playing with action figures that are adults, but to have a couple of display pieces like this around your house,
Yeah.
I think I respect this more. I think as something that, you know, I might have one of these or something like this just in the corner in my gaming room or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the toys are kind of a very, very cheap alternative to have on your bookcase, I guess.
It's 1,199
Yeah.
USD.
I mean, I would rather buy a Titan,
Yeah,
but
I mean that is it, isn't it? You are talking, you're talking Titan money there. And
this is fully
paint one.
fully painted and fully done, though, isn't it? It's good out of the box.
Yeah, it is wonderfully detailed. Weta Studios. That's the second kind of Lord of the Rings mention in 2 bits. Let's hope they're involved in the Amazon show. Please, please, please let Weta
Yeah,
be doing the costume.
Well, that would be an interesting prediction.
So, Matt, epic battles on a tiny weeny scale. I feel like my Instagram has been absolutely swamped with endless pictures of Legion Imperialis, of people doing little comedy, Space Marines climbing out of crisp packets, etc. Games Workshop have just released pictures of a new diorama. They've got a Warhammer world of a Legion Imperialis scale board. I think it looks really, really cool. Is it for you though? Do you think you'll be getting any of this?
I think that I would like to get maybe 1 or 2 Baneblades, like a couple of Lehman Russes, just to have a small tank force. I say force, but just 3 or 4. I think it's quite cool. The scale is interesting. As for the game, I don't know.
It looks fun. I read the White Dwarf had a battle report for it in this week, and it does look really fun. I don't really have any interest in painting it. I think if you could buy a painted set like you do, like a game like X-Wing, if you could just buy the models pre-painted, I think I'd probably get like a starter set to just have at home and play as a board game. But I don't get the painting. It's not something I really want to challenge myself to do the tiny. Some people are super into it. I guess like people who actually paint miniatures, there's people that paint tiny portraits.
Yeah.
It's a different skill or a different thing that you want to do, or just maybe to replicate your normal army. But I think it looks great and I'd love to play. So if you're out there and you've got a set of this or you're going to get a set, please invite me to come and have a game, because I just can't be asked to paint any of it.
The diorama looks amazing. The idea of having massive cities, a model of a really detailed city on that smaller scale, that does appeal to me. That model would be amazing.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
that you get in the box. I think the terrain looks incredible, and I have just come up with a crazy idea that I want to do. I think the Space Marines are small enough. You could have like a child Necromunda model holding one of the Space Marines.
Yeah.
That's I think that could be something I might enjoy doing. Or on a little backpack. You know how kids have those backpacks that are like teddy bear shape.
In the shape. Yeah.
Cool.
New models, even more new models from the World Championship preview. What have we got?
Yeah, well, we didn't have a chance to do a full release reveal video for this, so I guess we'll just chat about them a bit now. I was a little bit underwhelmed in general for 40k. They kind of built it up because to be quite a big kind of preview, like we were going to get a full army preview for the Dark Angels, or there was going to be something to do with the 40k narrative. But we didn't really get any major narrative reveals. We just got kind of some slightly updated models for Dark Angels, but not all of them. I was a bit underwhelmed by them, to be honest. What did you think of the Dark Angels releases?
Oh, I quite like the Terminators, and the characters are a nice model.
Do you like
Um,
Asmodee? See,
yeah, I
I
like that.
really don't like the new Asmodee model. I think he looks just kind of weirdly out of proportion. He looks kind of short and too wide, and the Crozius. I know his original Crozius is quite
Sounds like
short,
a
but it's so
classic Space
small.
Marine.
No, it's like it looks like he's got. I tell you what it is. He looks like he's got Terminator armor on, but he doesn't.
Mm.
He's that kind of proportion. And look at
Yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not being super picky, but if you pull a picture of this model up, look at the oaths of moment on his right shoulder. They look crap. They look really bad, like big rectangular slabs, not like normal oaths. His crows is too small and the smoke is whack. Stoney, what do you reckon about this model?
That's an interesting question.
Ushran the Bold is pretty out there.
I think that Ushran the Bowl, this is the Flesh Eater Courts for Age of Sigmar, is one of the coolest models games that was ever released.
Oh,
like, honestly, if we still did the full model spotlights, I could just talk about this for hours. I'm going to try not to, but it is perfect in every way. I get every sense of character from him. The sculpt is amazing, the veins, the sinew in the legs, but he's still huge. I've seen loads of people online say that this model is corrupted Horus.
I couldn't agree more.
And you could do
Demon
Prince conversion.
I was going to say I was going to say this is like the most grimdark thing that they've released for ages.
Yeah, compare that to that Asmodee model that has like those smoke effects, those crappy smoke effects on Asmodee. They look like you would buy them from just like a terrain, like your local terrain store that sells like non-branded smoke effects.
Yeah.
There's no sculpting in there. The robes are weird. The detail on the face is odd. The proportions are off. And then you look at that Usharan the Bold. He's hunched. It's dark. He's scary. It's creepy. It looks like an absolute really cool joy to paint with contrast paints.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
That whole Flesh Eaters Courts range is amazing. Did you see the little Cardinal Pope fella?
Yeah.
And the Justice guy with the like Judge wig.
It's an amazing model. Yeah. Oh. That is so grimdark. It's unbelievable.
It's weird because Sigmar for so long has been so cartoony, and these are cartoony. There's a lot of comedy about them, but they're still dark.
They're not,
They're like everything I wish
the Death Guard and stuff.
Range.
Yeah.
In one. The Death Guard range. And then Kill Team again knocked it out of the park. These Night Lords. Oh.
They're so, I mean, the Night Lords, I think they had like metal models. They had metal models many years ago. But these are incredible. These are incredible.
Just the little nods. I mean, I will get some because I love painting these kill teams up. You just get to try new color schemes and you're done in 20 models, but they look like a real bitch to paint. There's so much trim and so much detail on them.
Trim is the worst.
That's before you even get into the fact you're supposed to paint lightning.
All of
the panels. But I love that they've taken like the old metal Batwing heads would come out like longer than the shoulders at like a perfect 90-degree angle, and they've styled those back in a kind of sweeping motion that just looks more modern, but it still has that same style to it, which I love. And there's one guy with 2 power claws that is the spitting image of his daddy, old Conrad Kurz. He's even got the greasy hair, which
you're right.
I absolutely love, which is cool. I thought you might have something to say about the return of the Tauros chassis.
Yeah, I mean, is this a Forge World model? Well, it's not. Forge World doesn't exist now, but is this actually plastic?
Necromunda. I think it's plastic.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is like the second time in 2 months where an old Forge World kit has been reborn. So this really caught my eye. Obviously, this is for the Van Saar gang, isn't it? By the look of it. Maybe.
No, this is for the enforcers.
Oh, cool. Okay, so
they
the law
weirdly brought back like enforcers, and then they did RBTs anyway, which I found strange. But this is they've used it for enforcers. I will be buying one for my Gene Stealer cult. and using it as a
Yes.
ridge
Yeah.
runner because it's
Yeah.
cool as
The
shit.
wheels are great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I was glad to see this. So this was available from Forge World as part of the Elysian Drop Troopers,
Yeah, okay.
which
So
we've spoken
it was
about.
a resin only model that came with the
Yeah.
jump pack guys.
Yeah. 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 So it'd either drive out of a Valkyrie dropship or it would be on the bottom of a dropship. So it was like because they couldn't have tanks because they're airborne troops. So this is like their Jeep essentially with a gun on the
Yeah.
back. Yeah, this is really cool that it's come back because under that analogy as being a Jeep, it is a commonly seen, commonly used military vehicle. So it makes sense for an Imperial Guard regiment and this defense force, police force to have the same vehicle. That's cool. That's a nice tie-in.
I love the similar design. There's bits of it that look like the Ridge Runner as well. You can see they've come from the same starting STC or I also love that it's called a Tauros. I love that there's a Tauros and a Taurox. Just the thought that goes into naming things that are like similar
I didn't think
size.
of that. Yeah.
Really cool. So that was all the kind of modern stuff. And then that right at the end of that reveal, they revealed this massive Bone Dragon Tomb Kings model, which is just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous model. I have very little to say about it other than it's ridiculous.
It's got a skeletal cat, which is amazing.
Like a mummy cat.
Yeah, it is outrageous. It is outrageous.
Transporting this is if we did ever redo the award for most difficult to transport model at Christmas, I think this has got to take the biscuit.
This flicked up on my phone, and I could hear Stoney's voice in my head being like, "Oh, how are you going to transport that?" Blah blah blah.
Well, what do you think of it, Stoney?
That's fucking bobbins. That.
Oh, cool. Fair enough, mate. I really like the priest option. I think the priest is cool. I like he's got that like sand eagle they pointed out on the preview where like he's got his magic, the eagle fades into sand underneath, which I think is a really cool design feature. Okay, Matt, so two of the armies we regularly play against each other, Admech and Necrons, the robots of the future, are being released soon in codex form. I don't know if you've seen any of the rules, if anything's enticed you to buy the codex. I won't be buying a codex because I've just decided I'm not going to anymore. I'm just not doing it. I'm not being part of it. Make rules free. But some of the new rules are pretty cool. They've just previewed a detachment for each of them. By the time you're listening to this, the codex will probably be out. But I liked the Admech one, that the bonuses were all to do with securing archaeotech. So if you pick a objective, and if your opponent's on that objective, you get +1 to wound them because you really want that bit of tech.
Great. Yeah, that's good.
If you hold that objective and you fire out from it, you get +1 to wound because you're happy with the tech. So I think that's really cool. And then there's some enhancements that are based on holding the tech.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's the Necron one?
The Necron one seems to be all of the stuff they've released. Do you remember I said last episode that that new Overlord model that phases in and out of reality allows you to kind of shunt through reality like the Wraiths used to do and ignore all terrain. It seems like they're going full in for that as a kind of teleport mechanic because they've got a detachment called hyperphasing, where at the end of your opponent's turn, you can take loads of units off the board, like teleport them off the board ready to come in next turn from strategic reserves.
Oh, wow.
So, like there's always been the odd kind of way to make a unit come off. You had the Trexy Sky Stalkers at some point that you could pull off, and Raven Guard had loads of tricks. Seems like it's going to be a whole kind of army themed around this idea of teleporting around, which I think is quite cool. I'm really excited to play that actually, because Necrons have always been a kind of slow ramble up the board, causing damage as you refuse to die. I quite like to put together a Necron list that's all about popping in and outmaneuvering.
I am going to hold off on getting the codex. I think you're probably right. You can probably play the game now without buying the book. I think I probably will get the Admech book in the new year when I start up again, playing again.
Mm.
There's just, I don't know, there's just something about having the book, but I know now you've said that you're not even going to get it, that I kind of read the new codex through. You sort of play a couple of games where you use it, and then you don't really use it after that.
Yeah.
Once you sort of you kind of read through the book, have a couple of games, you essentially crack the codex, and then you're running off the apps,
Yeah.
and you don't. But hey, I don't know.
Charge me £4 Games Workshop for
Yeah,
the 10 pages of rules
yeah.
that I need in the 40-page book, and I will pay
Yeah.
it. But I'm just not doing it anymore.
Yeah,
Wikipedia.
I
saved us all.
I think I'm still not over the fact that I got I got the Imperial Guard Codex like 2 months before.
That's what I mean, man. It's happened to everyone over these years now. They are a big enough company to do this better.
Yeah.
And they're not. And it's not that I refuse to pay for rules, it's that I refuse to pay for an instantly out of date printed copy of the rules.
Yeah.
But there's lore that comes with these two, which was cool. And they've confirmed that Cool has gone fully to the Pariah Nexus now. So that Fabulous Royal book we talked about, he has been tasked to go. The Imperial Fist went there and found out there's a load of Necron shenanigans. Apparently, Cool has been tasked to go and cleanse the planets of Necrons and save people. And he's taken that to mean, can you take loads of really like out there tech priests who don't really follow the rules to go and mine a load of Noctilith for your own personal project?
Yeah.
So apparently he's kind of not doing that, and he's just going to mine Noctilith. He's building his own version of pylons to try and prevent the Pariah Nexus and close the Great Rift. And fortunately, at the same time as that happening, the Necrons are going into civil war. Apparently, Imhotep, the Storm Lord, is rising up against the Silent King and saying, "We don't recognize your authority." Which is what Games Workshop always do when there's an opportunity to really turn the tides of one side against the other. They could have joined the Necrons and fought against Chaos, but that would move the story too far. So let's have a civil war.
Well, this is the rumored civil war, but it's not actually Imperium. It's actually the Necrons.
It's the Necrons. But I don't see Imhotep being able to really, like, he's got the biggest dynasty, but the Silent King's the Silent King, man. I mean, he's got a chair and some floating stelae that follow him around. There's no way he's losing against Imhotep. But it does give Cool more opportunity to get what he wants and get out again with his trapped female Necron friend that he keeps on his ship for when he's lonely.
Is that the LBP phone I can hear?
Nah, mate, the LBP phone's broken because too much use.
Shit.
It's actually our new LBP carrier pigeon flocked in on the window there.
Oh, he's a bit cute.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he? He's got a note attached to his leg. Should we have a look what it says?
Yeah, I'll grab his wings.
Ah, it's a letter. It's stamped with the sigil of the Imperial Fists. Shall I read it out?
Yeah.
Dear most loyal LBP brothers, it is I, Daddy's boy and most stalwart proponent of boring battle tactics, Rogel Dawn. I write to you in my time of need. I have just received news that the Thousand Suns have breached Imperial space just outside the Segmentum Tempestus. My librarians tell me of murmurs in the warp that my brother Magnus, the one-eyed swine, has found a library of vintage Sisters of Battle pin-ups he simply must recover. He says that it's in the pursuit of knowledge. Wanker. As I can't show my face at the moment before getting a good trim, eyebrow wax, thanks to the bastard Lionel Johnson reappearing and stealing all the attention with his Charles Dance sugar daddy-esque charisma, I need you to do me a favour. Here's a load of vouchers to get down to Space B&Q, grab some supplies, and knock up a quick defensive fort to hold the dusty cunts off until a larger force can get there. Emperor's speed, brothers. Spend wisely.
Ah, wow. The yellow Power Ranger himself.
Letter from Big Daddy.
Well, what geezer.
Big Daddy. Okay, well, this seems important, Matt. He's trusted us to build some kind of fort to defend against the Thousand Suns.
Oh, I like getting vouchers.
About like materials building DIY in 40k?
Nah, I don't know anything. We'll have to go down to the shop.
All right, let's do it.
Customers first. It's customers first.
Okay, Welshy, I've got the app here for the shop, and it says that we need to go to aisle 11 because there they've got all the rockcrete, which is
Rockcrete.
yeah, rockcrete. It's an amazing material. Let me tell you about it.
Please do.
As I like to say, every great civilization creates its own form of concrete, and this is essentially Imperial Concrete. The zenith of human civilization has created this. It's a type of building material used by the Imperium. It's cheap and easy to produce. Native stone, so whatever planet you're on, wherever you are in the galaxy, native stone is ground up and mixed with binding agents to create thick, heavy slabs used in the construction of walls and flooring. And I mean big walls. So Rogal's really going to want some rockcrete.
Absolutely, definitely for a foundation at least. Is rockcrete, and we're going to come across loads of these as we wander down the aisles, I'm sure, that are just things that sound similar to things that exist in the real world. From your research, deep research about rockcrete, is it just concrete but in the future, or has it got any weird aggregates or something added to it?
From my deep research, it's sort of both. It's like that classic 40k thing where it kind of also depends on what planet you're on. So you could be on a more high-tech world where perhaps they are adding in some interesting stuff into that rockcrete mixture, or on your basic world, it's probably just going to basically be concrete. It is just an imperial version of concrete.
Right.
But they also use it in another type of material, which is called ferrocrete, and that's on aisle 12. It's sort of the aisle opposite, so it's all in the same area. That's where we're heading to now.
Building materials. They're not very pretty,
that's right.
Though. I think we need to make sure
they're
we get
dusty.
Something that makes the fort look nice.
Why do we need something that's nice when we can have rockcrete and ferrocrete?
I think they'll appreciate it. The Thousand Suns.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they might do, but Rogal Dawn might not.
Well, that's true. I don't know why we're trying to make the people attacking us appreciate the look.
Although we maybe it would distract them. Yeah, like a Trojan horse, but it would just be a great big beautiful wall. Yeah.
So what's mixed in with ferrocrete? I'm going to hazard a guess that it's iron of some kind.
Ferrocrete is it's a concrete-like mixture, and it's used to build bunkers and defensive fortifications. So it's perhaps a bit stronger than the previous material. The steel mesh and rebar. So this is like reinforced concrete.
Right. Yeah.
So that's probably where the iron comes from. And it's a cheap substitute for pure Serra block and Serra plate, which are more expensive. I mean, they're almost like bricks. But still
pre-made.
Yeah, but it says in my notes here that it's still vastly superior to concrete. So it's like super duper. Concrete. Ferrocrete has even been used in ablative armor, which is interesting.
Oh, right.
So, I mean, I guess you could, if it is available, well, it's in aisle 12, so it's available in block form, then you could just put that over your tank. So, yeah, we could just reinforce the wall with this in front of it. A material that is sort of already available in the real world, where they've just stolen the name.
Yeah, it's another one. I prefer ferrocrete though. Reinforced concrete's rubbish. I know exactly what you mean when you say ferrocrete.
Yeah,
it's concrete with iron inside it.
Yeah, when you said that, I did think that kind of makes sense.
It's going to be a bit bland, I think. This is a lot of kind of grey frontage. I am a bit worried that we've got to put some style into this. We can't just have it, functional.
Well, what's Rogal want?
I don't care what Rogal wants. We need to make it
What
pretty.
do you want?
I want him to be really, really happy with the way it looks. I think that if we're going to have all of this grey, we should have at least some paneling in it with a bit more shine. Do you not think this is for the Emperor? There's nothing that the Thousand Suns are more scared by than the gleaming, full frontal happiness of the Emperor. And by that, I don't mean his crotch. I mean we could Imperial Eagle, the killer on the front.
Buy a gallon of yellow paint.
No, I don't think that's going to be enough. Yellow paint's not enough. Even for
what should we use?
If yellow paint was enough for Rogal Dawn, he wouldn't have gold armor, would he?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
you'd have yellow like everyone else. I'm going to suggest that we need some higher quality metal, maybe just some chasing along the top, maybe just some symbols or some logos in there. Well, I reckon we could use some auramite, which is incredibly rare, and it's made of a kind of mineral that's really, really difficult to find. It takes really great expense to even slightly change the color. So most of the time it's gold. It's what the Custodes armor is made out of.
Oh, right.
That's why there's so few of it. But apparently you can get it in different colors, which I think, if we've got the budget for it, we should do, because not only can you paint it, which would be rubbish, if the Custodes want it in a different color, like some of those strange Custodes factions, they have to go to great expense to change it on a molecular level because they refuse to paint over it. It's so special that you can't paint it, but you can get it in all different tints and colors, but you have to molecularly change it. So do you reckon we could get a bit of that for the wall?
I think your idea of making some symbols and stuff with it is a nice little touch.
Maybe just one big shining gold killer on the front, on the door or something like that.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for indulging me there on the auramite, Matt. Is there anything more important you think we should get?
Well, yeah. I mean, a wall is all it's all good, but I think we are making some sort of defense system, and I think that even behind the ferrocrete and all this concrete material and rockcrete, we're going to need some steel stuff. We're going to need like big girders, some sort of reinforcing structure, some places for troops to be housed, stuff like that. And I think most of the strength that's going to come from is going to be some big, hefty bars and beams of PLASTEEL. I think we need to go to the PLASTEEL aisle right now, if we can get it on this trolley, if we can get it on the trolley.
Oh, we got a servitor over here that will come and give us a hand.
Hi, it's me, Stoney.
Okay, here we are in the PLASTEEL. Do you know anything about this material?
Ooh, I don't know much, but I'm going to go on what we've learned about rockcrete and ferrocrete so far and assume that it's some kind of steel-like material, and maybe it's kind of bendy. It can be formed into different shapes. It's kind of plastic, you might say.
Yes, you might say that. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's an advanced steel. It's used by the Imperium in armor, both personal and for vehicles, and in the construction of buildings. So it's perfect for us. It's among the strongest and most durable of the Imperium's materials. It's also quite lightweight for its strength, and it can be formed into a variety of shapes and textures. So as you say, it's the plasticity of this material is what makes it better than normal steel.
So you're saying we can have a kind of curved bottom to our wall. We don't need it in right angles. We can do that. That's pretty.
And it's just stronger than steel anyway. It's used. An example of where it's used for personal armor is it's used in conjunction with ceramite to form the armor plating of Terminator armor. So can you imagine a wall made to that sort of defensive ability? That'd be quite cool. And yeah, as you hinted, the plas element of the word is from plastic, which, although we like to call plastic as a material, most people call it as a material. It actually refers to the plasticity of many synthetic materials we use now for almost anything. So this is basically, we are living in the age of plastic. The Imperium lives in the age of PLASTEEL. They make loads of stuff out of PLASTEEL. I don't really know, if I'm honest, why, because steel is pretty, you can make a lot of things out of steel and you can form it to many shapes. So I don't really know why in the law PLASTEEL is better, but that's the law. It just is better. It's 10 times better than steel. Yeah.
Dan Abnett wanted to call it. This is earlier than Dan Abnett. A lot of the stuff I was reading of all these materials is all Andy Clark. It's all quite early made up stuff.
Well, PLASTEEL, apparently it's appears in June. So it predates the word and the material idea predates Warhammer and 40k. And there is, I did a quick Google search earlier, and there are materials that are called plasteel currently available now. There's an armored vehicle. There's an armored vehicle called a Boxer, which uses plasteel. Yeah, which I thought was brilliant. And there's another form of material that from the 70s where it's a composite fiberglass and steel, which sounds interesting. But
it says next to it here that it's on some kind of offer, like a buy one get
a Black
one
Friday
half price offer.
Oh, great!
Yeah. It says buy your plasteel. It actually says fan of Terminator armor, buy your plasteel and get your adamantium half price.
Oh,
which is great because adamantium is another word stolen from other IP in the universe. I'm pretty sure Games Workshop didn't come up with adamantium. I'm not sure who did, but I'm damn sure it's in Wolverine skeleton. So I'm going to give the credit to Marvel. Hell, why not? But I reckon it's probably before that. It's also in the Terminator armor. It's the strongest metal used by the Imperium. And what is the weakest point of a fort, Matt, that we might need to be the strongest part, do you reckon?
Oh, that's a good question. The foundations or the gate?
The gate, correct. And there is a gate that's made entirely of adamantium.
Oh,
do you know where that is?
Yes, it's the door to the Golden Throne.
The Eternity Gate is made purely of adamantium, which is crazy because this is like super rare, super strong stuff that's used to alloy.
Don't they use it on like the huge prows of some of the warships, not all of the
ramming.
Yeah, for ramming.
That's exciting. And Matt, more importantly for our fort, it's really shiny, so we'll get a nice glint of the morning sun.
Well, hopefully that will blind them as well.
Exactly. So, yeah, the strongest metal used by the Imperium. I think it will make a really good gate centerpiece. Not just because it's strong, but because it will really stand out from the kind of dark, concrete-y, brutalist structure you seem to be wanting to build.
Yeah, I suppose I am building a brutalist wall.
And it's just behind us, same aisle. It's in one of those like plastic boxes though now, you know, like I've seen these in co-op and places where you need to get a security guard over to come take the tag off so you can't rob it, which is a bit annoying, but I'm sure someone will sort us out.
Yeah. The self-service checkout.
Will the parents of Primarchs 2 and 11 please report to customer services? That's the parents of Primarchs 2 and 11 to customer services.
So we've got our kind of external structures and main building components. Matt, how do we do the like internal finishing and stuff?
Yeah, I've got something that I'd like to suggest for that. There's a couple of materials. The first being probably the cheaper version. So we'll go over here where the boards are, because here we are. Okay, this is it. It's flak board.
Okay.
Nothing says protection more than a material with board in the name. So flak boards, it's basically Imperial MDF. Look at it, it's beautiful. They're sheets of armor.
I can almost see the Emperor in it.
Yeah, glory. I've written in my notes that they're sheets of armor, but I think they're just boards. We're here to buy some flak board. Let's buy some flak board. It's cheap. It's easy to construct. It's used in lots of Imperial military installations, so it's perfect. It's a true tried and tested solution. But we're going to be in the officers' quarters, so for us, I am prepared to splash out on a fine paneling in the officers' quarters, which I suggest we go to the other aisle and we get some gnarlwood.
Ooh.
Gnarlwood is.
Can we polish it?
Yeah, we probably will have to buy some gnarlwood veneered boards because it's very rare. Gnarlwood is from Tanith, the planet of the Gaunt's Ghosts, from the Gaunt's Ghosts novel that was destroyed by the forces of chaos in the Sabbat Worlds Crusade. Gnarlwood is obviously a tree because it's wood. They were evergreens that would move around on the planet. I guess it's kind of like an ent, but I don't think they were conscious like an ent from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But they would move around to get better sunlight. And the natives, they were known because of this for their unerring sense of direction, because the trees would move around, so they'd have to be really good at navigating the woods, which is why the Tanith First, one of the reasons that the Tanith First and Only are kind of the regiment that they are, like the scouts and stuff. The tree had a fruit. I hope you're listening, Stoney, because Stoney loves trees, as you would have seen on his wood carving YouTube video. The fruit is edible. It's called the gnarl fruit, which is an inventive name. But because Tanith was blown up in the Gaunt's Ghost novels, all of the gnarlwood blew up with it, obviously. And that means that the wood is very rare. I can't remember in the Gaunt's Ghost book how Dan Abnett writes different materials in, but I remember that the actual original ghosts from Tanith, because they're joined by people from other planets as the books go on, their lasguns have stocks made of gnarlwood. They have pipes. The Tanith pipe is a musical instrument, and that's made from the wood. So as more and more of these original Tanith people die and they lose weapons, they kind of lose more and more of this wood. And it was one of the main exports of Tanith, because Tanith was just sort of kind of like a rural world, lots and lots of trees. So they used to export their wood across into the Imperium. So
I imagine it's somewhere between like the kind of darkest mahogany color, mixed with that kind of pattern you get from olive wood or something like that. That's how it is in my head. A kind of real like gnarly dark hard wood. I think in the book I'm just reading, I probably got this wrong, but Gaunt gives one of the ghosts something made of gnarlwood, and I want to say that it's a prosthetic foot for Larkin. I think he gives Larkin a wooden prosthetic foot, and it's made of gnarlwood, and he's like, how did you manage to get your hands on this?
I mean, that brings back a memory for me, but I did read in my notes, I read on the internet when I was putting my notes together that because it is a really hardy wood, that they do use it for simple prosthetics. So
that does make sense. That does check. Larkin's gnarlwood prosthetic.
But we don't need it for fake legs and feet. We need it for decking out
a desk,
command.
A nice big desk.
Oh yeah,
we'll have a desk. We'll have a nice Velux window.
Yeah,
maybe with some of that
wall paneling
that you can turn to black, in case it looks. We don't want to be distracted by what's going on outside in our officers' quarters.
Yeah, when they come and they need to speak to us because the Thousand Suns have arrived, we can just turn the glass so no one can see us.
Yeah, and we'll hide in there. We'll have to make sure we get some coasters because we won't want to stay in Gnarlwood. But we can have some Valhallan Tanner tea, like the ghost drink, or even a bottle of Sacra while it all goes down. Comfortable inside our bunker there. But if we're gonna have some Sacra, or indeed some tea, we're gonna need somewhere to make it. We've got to think about kind of kitchen quarters. And, Dawn seems to have given us an endless amount of money here. So we can really push the boat out. And what I'm going to suggest is a nice kind of Arga style cooker. And I suggest we get it custom made, bespoke, some would say, out of ceramite.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been reading a lot about ceramite, which is obviously the power armor material. And what's great about it, the reason they use ceramite is that it's a high thermotolerant ceramo-metallic hyper-alloy, which is the most ridiculous way to get every word. So basically ceramite is whatever you want it to be. It's either a ceramic, or it's metallic, or it's some kind of alloy. It's whatever you need it to be.
Yeah.
But importantly for our oven, and why I'm suggesting we use it for an Aga in our officer's mess, is that the thermotolerant property. So it can soak up a crazy amount of heat, which is why it can withstand flame weapons and plasma and energy weapons so well, and why it's used in terms of power armor. It's tough and it's light, so it'll be easy to get in, like moving. We're going to want to get all of this furniture in the first place. So what we also don't want to see is the bog standard troops who are cooking on campfires. We'll let them see that we've got the Sacra and the Tanati and the posh Ceramite Arga. So we'll need to get that in by ourselves, presumably.
And using it on the cooking stove, I mean, that is like Teflon. That is like DuPont's Teflon.
Absolutely. And it doesn't, there's no way we can dent it. So it doesn't rupture and it doesn't dent. So I think it's the perfect material. We can even make the worktops out of it, because then if we put a hot pan down, it's not going to cause any issue.
Absolutely. I'm all for this. I think that super high-tech military grade materials should definitely be used for civilian cooking.
Down here in aisle 17, apparently. Earthenware, it says.
The 70s.
The 80s. The 90s.
Oh, we're going back in time.
Is that a space squad?
It's time we take you back with a blast from the past.
So, Matt, as I said in Hobby Progress, I've been painting Stoney's cool gang member city girl that I've done in a kind of Escher style. And I was looking for some inspiration online from some various Escher gangs and other 40k related content. And I stumbled across something I didn't even know existed. And this goes right the way back. Rogue Trader 6 catalogue this was. So a true blast from the past. I stumbled upon these things called Space Amazons. This is a classic John Blanche image we're looking at. Just Google Space Amazon John Blanche. And these are like precursors to any kind of Necromunda gang. And I think it was just a really cool image for something that I hadn't really considered hasn't been transported over to 40k.
Yeah.
Like Skaven hasn't been transported from Warhammer Fantasy. Amazons are a thing in fantasy. They're a Blood Bowl team that's made up of Amazons. And I didn't realize they had anything representing them in 40k that was actually called Amazons. So we're looking at a John Blanche picture here of a woman in proper high heels. She's covered in various different animal prints. She's got crazy big hair. And you could buy her as an actual model in Rogue Trader 6.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Some muskets, which I thought was cool. I love the idea of there being an Amazons army. We've talked loads on the podcast about like female space marines and everything. They should be a thing. And is the Sisters of Battle enough? But Space Amazons, there's a whole world waiting to be explored there.
Yeah. Do you not think that the Escher gang are kind of like that?
They definitely look like it. I mean, you can see
like
how this
Space
might have evolved
Amazons
into that for sure. But I didn't know that this was the kind of history behind it.
No. I remember this piece of artwork. I don't know where from, but if I, tell a young guy show a young guy into Warhammer that some hot chick's wearing suspenders, and you're like,
absolutely.
I'm all in.
She's got knee socks on and suspenders. Knee socks, tights, and suspenders. She's only got 2 legs and she's rocking it all.
Yeah.
And a corset.
I didn't know there was a model though. Yeah. So, floating rocks.
I thought it was really cool. There was a Forge World Necromunda character that came out in the past few years, which is kind of like the semi-bionic version of her with big hair, which is a almost exact replica of another John Blanche model with an axe and a kind of shield, which I thought was a really nice touch as well. You'll see.
Cool. I mean,
just Google Space Amazon.
That can't be that old.
No, the Necromunda one is within the past 2 years.
I don't remember any of us seeing that.
No, there are honestly. Do you remember last episode we were talking about how crap the new website is?
Yeah.
Uh, this was something I stumbled across just scrolling through that. Like I said, I used to just click on Necromunda, filter by character, and look through all the amazing stuff that's there. Yeah, there's loads out there. But yeah, Space Amazons. I thought if you've never heard of them and you're listening to this, have a quick Google because they are really cool, I think, and clearly the background for the Escher gang, and great inspiration for me for painting Stoney's female gang model.
Customers first. It's customers first.
Security to aisle 14. Traz in the Infinite spotted with some kind of cube. He's back, guys.
All right. Well, actually, I think we've got the main wall building material sorted. I think we should probably head to the home decor section. But on the way there, I just want to pass the Plascrete section because I feel like I want to get more grey material into this wall, and I think I want to just get some prefabricated bits so that we can build some sort of transportation station at the back of the wall just to kind of get more troops up, because to be honest, I don't really want to be defending this wall with just you. I think we need to get some reinforcements.
I think that's fine, but this is the last stop on the wall because I think it's really important we spend some of this cash on sorting our chambers out, making it really comfortable for us while this war's going on.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're here now, so let's get some Plascrete. Like I say, it's in block form, prefabricated habs, and they use it to build lots of Imperial stations and stuff. So we can use this. Actually, this is an actual prefabricated Plascrete Imperial station, STC. So we can just put this at the back of the wall, and a train can stop here, and all the troops can get off.
Great.
I'll put this up like a shed. Be fine.
Nice. And they can sleep in that too, presumably, in the station.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. We just give the commissar a couple of gilts under the table. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Perfect. Right, let's get to that home decor section.
This is a customer announcement. Today's your lucky day. It's Black Templar Friday. Everything's 50% off.
So, Matt, I've heard these Thousand Suns can be a bit tricksy when it comes to things like psychic powers and stuff.
Yeah, they're real cricky bastards. I don't know. I think we need to have some sort of defense against them, against their psychic potential.
Okay. What about these?
What's that?
Noctilith bedposts.
Oh, Noctilith.
They look quite fancy as well. They got a kind of shiny black stone appearance.
That black stone? Oh wow!
It is one and the same.
How much are they?
They're a little bit excessive, but
oh my god, that's half the budget.
We've got the gold card. The gold card.
Okay, yeah.
It says here on the tag that they're able to either amplify or nullify warp energies. So, I have no psychic potential. I know you don't. So in our case, these would be able to nullify anything that's sent our way. They're resistant to empiric energies. They're being used currently in the Pariah Nexus. It says here, as seen in the pylons of Cadia, which we know, works.
So we can have a Blackstone 4-poster bed.
Yeah, it does say warning. Excessive exposure to Blackstone may cause zombie-like response and loss of soul. Yeah. But I think we shouldn't be here too long.
No,
before we get support. So
it'll be over by Christmas. Yeah,
one for each corner.
No, I was going to say 8, so we can have separate beds. And I mean, this is all sort of Xenos stuff, but I've heard of a material called phase iron. So you just need to find something that's made of phase iron to also defend against the psychic potential.
What about this headboard? It's pretty elaborate.
Oh yeah, it's a phase iron headboard. So phase iron, I know a bit about phase iron, is actually a metal alloy produced during the dark age of technology. So it's sort of, I don't know, I mean, it's almost like the human version of Blackstone. It was used to bind psykers, searing their skin every time they tried to use their powers. So it's kind of what shackles psykers. And by buy M41. It's exceptionally rare, but one place that existed in abundance was something called the Null Keep on a planet called Neva, Neva, where Deacon Victor Lehan was constructing secret experiments on rogue psychers. Powerful member of the ecclesiarchy. He was foiled, though, by the Sisters of Battle, and this all happens in a novel called Faith and Fire by friend of the show, James Swallow.
Oh, nice. That's one of the 40k Sisters of Battle novels.
That's correct, yep.
Oh, okay. It does say on the tag here, though, Matt, and I'm worried this might be your real aim with the phase iron. It says also available in the phase iron range, Psyker Gimp chest. You're not going to try and get a Psyker in the bedroom, are you? And keep them in there for your own amusement?
Space Marine buttholes.
What about drapes for the 4 posters?
Oh,
you can't just have the bare stone. They're selling some over here that made of Lorelei and Psychurium, which is
what are they?
Described as a psychically active crystalline material, making the basis of force weapons, psychic hoods, and even your favorite deck of tarot cards. Buy enough Lorelei curtains, get a set of tarot cards free. Well, that'd be great to pass the time. This stuff is so expensive that it does say here, warning, an entire regiment of guard were killed to secure this Lorelei. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, I mean, if we don't buy it, they died for nothing, right?
It does say they took a load of orcs with them on their way out.
Okay, yeah. I think we should, let's get that.
Okay, great, nice.
And I mean, also we're making the beds for us, but Rogel is going to visit, so we've got to offer him somewhere to stay. You know, like a monarch coming to the castle. This is Rogel's room,
and he'll be strong enough to push our ridiculously heavy Noctilith beds together, so his feet aren't hanging out the edge.
Yeah,
we can both get in the crate with the psychic gift.
Yeah.
Oh, I've also just noticed, Matt, here on the sides to accent our room, some dream stones.
No, that's not some Eldar crap, is it? What's that?
Well, it does say that it's Eldar. Are you against having Eldar in the room? I mean, I've got quite into it recently.
Well, I don't know. What is it? What does it do?
Well, it says here that you need to phone up one of Wave's Farseers and they'll get it out of the back store for you, because it's the only way you can access it is to be given it by an official Farseer of Ulthway. But, you know, Matt, I can't see that being too expensive.
I don't know. What colour is it?
Like all different colours, apparently, but you get the one you're given, and they act like a dream catcher. So they'll trap any bad juju from the Thousand Suns inside them. I think we could probably get some, but I think that this is the detail that needs to be yellow. Okay, cool. I'm sure we can ask if we try really hard. We'll get a yellow one from one of the Farseers.
Yeah, because
we're in good company, because it says here as modelled by Janus Drake, who was recently given one by a Farseer.
Oh, okay.
Although it does link you kind of psychically forever with the person that gives it to you, so they might be watching what you're doing with the Psychic Gimp, if you're all right with that. That's a price to pay for protecting our dreams.
I think that's okay, because actually I've been looking on the app and I've been picking out some material to make some screens, like computer screens, so that we can have a CCTV network inside the rooms, so that we can check to see what's going on, just in case any of those psychic beings come in, or demons even come in from the Thousand Suns. I've just picked up this material, this special screen material. It's called Organic Light Emitting Diode, or OLED, which is a real thing.
Not heard of OLEDs before.
Yeah, OLED. So it's what the Imperium uses to make their screens. The Adeptus Mechanicus use them. They're derived from organic materials.
Like
the screens are, the screens are very thin, but they're often sandwiched in between plates of adamantine and edged in metal, making them very robust and resilient to small caliber bullets. So that might be useful, although no one's going to get through our wall. But they are They are, however, they're quite monochrome, so they're not really as good as real world screens. But this is what the Imperium uses. I like the idea of the bioluminescence, almost as if it's some sort of weird algae thing. That's quite interesting.
That is cool. It comes up a lot in lore as well. Abnett's always called in things. The amount of times he says electro flambeau in the books that you read, it's like, what is an electro flambeau? The electro flambeaus were glowing. I imagine they've got some kind of bioluminescent organism. People have made like lava lamps with stuff in real life that have
they
bioluminescence in. Yeah, you can get like bioluminescent bacteria that you can put in kind of lava lamp style things.
That's cool. I always like to think of. I know I mentioned at the beginning that the different human civilizations, and the fact that different successful civilizations create their own concrete. Obviously, I was referring to the Romans, but you can talk about other civilizations. Our modern civilization has our own form of modern concrete that is different to the Roman concrete. And I said that it was like the age of plastic that we are living in now, which is we are living in the age of plastic, and we're talking on a podcast about lore based on plastic miniatures, and that whole technology behind that material science that's gone on for the last 80 years, less than 80 years. But I always like to think that in the Imperium is the age of bone. It's like the empire of bone. We speak about all these materials, but they're real material that the Imperium is ground on every day, and the material that they use in so many things is bone. The material that they reinforce in Space Marines is bone. They use the skulls of humans.
This is the kind of thing you tune in for, I'm sure, at this point. Like last episode where we were discussing whether the lasgun was a god. This is the tangential bullshit that you get when you spend too long in Space B&Q.
But I did. So that kind of brought me on to one of my last materials that I wanted to talk about, and it's just around the corner here. Just a quick look down this aisle to see if there's anything that we can find of bioceramics. Refined Ceraform is biocompatible and is used in place of hydroxyplate in skeletal augmentations. Hydroxyplate is used in non-augmentative reconstructive surgery at the low end, and though widely used, it is technologically not an advanced ceramic or Ceraform material, as the group is used in other advanced biocompatible materials, and they're very robust. Space Marines have their skeletons altered with a relative of the ceramite material, which strengthens the bone to the point beyond that of high tensile steel. A Marine's skull is literally bulletproof by our standards and can defeat bullets as if Type 4 modern-day body armor with multi-hit resistance. Their bones are stronger than steel bars.
This sounds like a good thing to have on our door.
Yes.
Just in case they get through. Just in case they get past the station barracks.
They can't shoot their way through.
They can't get through our door. I'm sure we can get them to add a bit of that. Can we get this here in this shop, or is this an advert for the hospital? I feel like this is something I don't want to be taken to a back room at B&Q and have someone drafting bioceramics to my skull. But
maybe this is the thing that we don't actually buy. Let's put this down.
Okay, let's put it back. Let's take this leaflet and we'll ask our friendly Medicaid about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a wall, impenetrable, I've heard, but more importantly, we've got a lovely chambers. We've got a psychic imp. We're protected from any chaos that the Thousand Suns might unleash. But at the end of a long, hard day of, playing regicide and listening to the war happening outside, I'm going to need a bath. And the final thing we need is some form of washroom that we can access. And I don't know about you, but I like a nice, smooth, high-end finish in a bathroom. Utterly seamless.
Wow.
No grout to go yellow and horrible. Not that that's going to
Yeah.
happen because we'll win this war instantly. But
Yeah.
and I think the only material we've got that we could kind of almost 3D print a room out of is Wraithbone. And I've noticed that over there in the corner of shop, they've got bone singers for hire. You
Oh,
can
wow.
call in the bone
Thread it
singer
for us.
and he'll come and he will warp the Wraithbone into whatever shape we want.
Yeah.
So Wraithbone is a psychoplastic substance, which is solidified warp energy. So apparently this bone singer they've got over there can come over and he can call energy out of the warp and solidify it into whatever shape we want. So we can have like a bidet attached weirdly to the side of the bath, so we can sit together.
Yeah. No.
No. It's stronger than plasteel. So if you go to
Oh
town
my God.
with your Psycho Gimp in there, it will be fine. It's harder than adamantium. And if we wanted to chat from one end of the building to the other, we could lace some of the walls with Wraithbone wiring because it conducts psychic current.
Oh,
So we
that's
could just
pretty
use
good.
the psychic to send, like where you get a cup on a string to the cup and you put the other end to your ear. It's probably similar to that.
So the bone singers, they're basically just like 3D printers.
They are 3D printers. That's exactly how I imagine it. And
Yeah.
it is literally everything in the Eldar world. Like,
Yeah.
you know how there's those cool 3D printed things now that are functional. So you print something that has like a mechanism that works.
Yeah.
This is the same. The entire
Yeah.
craft world, down to the mechanisms that are in the like wiring or clockwork of the instruments on the bridge, is Wraithbone, called into being by a bone singer, which is really cool. So we can have, everything in there. Be able to turn the underfloor heating on and off. We'll have a nice switch on the wall. We've got the bidet. We've got the bath. We've got beautiful flat tiling with no grout. Wonderful, I think. Again, it's quite pricey, but I'm sure Dawn will understand us getting a bit of Xenos in here.
Yeah, I mean, he needs somewhere to, he needs his own golden throne, as it were.
We could have one that's his size and then a little our size one next to it.
Well, we'll be going in the B-Day.
Finally, to add to that then is some finishings. And I can't think of a better material to have in here than necrodermis.
What, for like the taps and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
A necrodermis tap.
Taps, the metalware.
So the necrodermis is
The
what the
necrodermis
Necrons.
is living.
Yeah.
Living
Yeah,
metal.
so it's Necron metal.
Yeah, there's a whole display over here that's offering us to try it for the first time. And it'll give us a free Canoptech scarab to take home with us.
Oh, like
So
a pet.
Well, I guess we could use it like a pet, but it will fix the living metal of the necrodermis. So when the taps get kind of like old and worn and loose, or you get a bit lime scaly, the Canoptech scarab will just keep on top of that.
Oh, okay. So it's like a Roomba.
Yeah, exactly.
This house is starting to feel like home.
Yeah, absolutely. And over time, I reckon we'll get quite good at manipulating the living metal and necrodermis. Apparently, the Catan can just weld it like the bone singers weld warp energy. Trazin's got quite good. He can like build himself new bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Rogodor will appreciate the family touch of it, because after all, he had a brother whose arm was probably made of necrodermis.
Yes. Maybe it will remind him of his brother.
Yeah, not so Ferrus Manus. I'm sure he'd be delighted to be reminded that his brother fought a giant space worm and was infected with Xenos metal. I think he'd really like that.
Well, I think this is looking pretty spectacular now.
I'm really happy with it. I think it's somewhere that we will be comfortable whilst the war is happening, and I think that's important.
I just hope that the Thousand Sons don't just fly over the wall.
But I can't see that happening.
Or they might go round it.
No. It's
It's
he's
because
built a big one.
we spent half the budget on the interior detail.
Once they see that shinier killer,
Yeah, okay.
they'll
Yeah.
be the Imperial Guardsmen. Oh, look at this over here on offer, bargain bin. It's a Mung vase, Matt. We can put that in the corner.
What is that?
It says that it's a Mung vase with the brains of House Mung patriarchs pickled inside it for us to eat at our leisure in our new home.
Okay.
They're a house of necromunda, and their brains are considered a delicacy. And this is a classic 40k 80s riff on the Ming vase. But I think it will really set the room off to have a Mung vase for when we've had a hard day.
Yeah, because when you said that, I had images of like all the Chinese porcelain and stuff, all the vases
from the Ming dynasty.
Is that what you mean? Yeah.
But this is the Mung vase.
Yeah,
from the Mung dynasty of necromunda.
From all the junks that sunk, and now you can buy them in auctions.
I reckon so. It says here, may be freshly taken from the underhive or sump dwellings.
Yeah.
It also says in very small letters, cannot guarantee reality.
Yeah.
So it might be knockoff, but
it doesn't matter. Rogel won't even notice.
Right, well, we've got all the bits then. Should we submit the plans to him?
What, by carrier pigeon?
Have you still got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
You've got mail.
Dear cretinous LBP boys, your defensive plans are utter codswallop. You sparked ire to levels only my abased brother the Red Angel could be proud of. A wall. A single wall. No parapets, no revetments, no battlements. Hell, not even a consideration of troop refreshments. However, as I read your letter, I could see the appeal to the quarters you describe. A picture of peace I have longed for in war. A quiet in a world of endless noise. A calm for a mind plagued by demons. A gimp for which to receive my imperial fist. I have asked Tor Garridan to arrange my immediate transport to your location. Make sure the bathroom is clean, damn it. If I get even a whiff of Bone Singer on my bidet, throne help you.
So, Matt, it's time for another Lords of Law. Let's get Stoney on the phone.
Yeah, let's call him.
Okay, boys, so I've got a colour-specific Lords of
Hello!
Law.
Hey!
Oh, blimey, he's got a delay.
Hello!
Hello, Stoney.
Hi.
Hello. You might not have heard that, mate, but we've got a very colour-based Lords of Law today. So it's going to use your ability to mix colours and your ability to infer colours from clues.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 2 clues which represent 2 colours in the Citadel range, and I want you to tell me what colour you get if you mix those together. Does that make sense? So the colours that you're mixing are speedy orcs with rich orcs. I want to know the colour you get.
Orange.
Well done, Stoney. Point out the gate. That's Evil Sons and Flash Gits. Question number 2. The Sons of the Khan and the sexiest librarian.
Like light blue. Oh, like pink.
Pink. Extra points if you can tell me the colours, Stoney.
Red and white.
Red and white. Mephiston and White Scar. Matt, he's 2 ahead.
Yeah, am I meant to be answering?
Yeah, of course.
All right, okay.
Come on, you've done enough of these. Next question. The leader of the Crimson Fists with the Prince of Iandan Eldar.
Brown.
Incorrect. Stoney, you've got a free guess.
Green.
I don't know what size. Blue and it's like a dark blue and what was the other one? Yellow. I'll just say green. Matt said green. I'm going to say green.
It's 3-0 to Stoney.
Hell yeah!
I said
Matt.
green.
Cheers, Matt.
You already had a guess.
Double team that one.
4th question. The home world of Mr. Double Fists with the angriest of gods.
Purple.
He's good at this. That was McCrag blue with corn red. And the fifth and final question, Matt, has a chance to redeem yourself after last week having it stolen. The very final question worth 15 million points. The homeworld of the finest guardsman drop troops with space chimp techno engineer.
Brown?
Oh,
yeah.
Stoney. That's Elysian green and Jacaro orange. Thanks
Hell
for
yeah.
a quick phone in, Stoney. Well done, mate.
No
That's 2
worries.
in a row.
See you later, guys. I've got to get
See
back
ya.
to the war. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.